Welcome to the Not Superheroes Just Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing, the barbecue, is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. I hope you guys are having an amazing, blessed day wherever you at, wherever you're watching or listening. I appreciate the support. Before we dive into it, again, guys, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, share, tell a friend. If you're on YouTube, press that subscribe button. I definitely appreciate you guys. And before we dive into it, too, I did want to share a proud dad moment to my boy Cal. Calvin, his daughter, shout out to Belle. She's been hooping. He's been working with her, and she had what was it like? I think she had like a career high. He said, where I think she's about to go to sixth grade, but she had like 15 points and 15 rebounds, and he was super excited. You know, she's a walking double double. I was joking with him. But yeah, shout out to you, Bill. Keep working. I know your dad and your mom's working with you, so definitely want to give y'all love and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, guys, I'm excited to have. Well, when I met him, you know, he was coaching, doing an amazing job, and I know my son definitely enjoyed your coaching style, enjoyed you being his coach. But how you doing today,
Thank you.
Nathan?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself, Sean?
Man, I can't complain. You know, woke up this morning, and even if we did complain, nobody would want to hear it, right?
That's right. Nobody I talk to, at least.
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. So, I like to do icebreakers, bro. So
Okay.
I'm going to ask you because you're from San Antonio, um, born and raised, right?
Born and raised, yes,
Born
sir.
and raised. All right. So, what is probably something that you feel that most people should do when they come to San Antonio? And the reason why I asked that because when I first came out here, I had no clue what to do.
Okay. Man, the first one thing you should do when you come to San Antonio, everybody likes the Riverwalk for some reason when they come here. And
True.
it's
True.
not bad. It's not bad. You know, the downtown life, it's nice, center of downtown, maybe not so much, but the little outskirts, like you got the Pearl, you got the King Williams area downtown. They're all pretty nice areas downtown. And then, if you stumble downtown and see the Riverwalk, it's not too bad itself either. So it's one of
That's
the
true.
things.
That's true. I guess, see, I kind of lied on y'all. Sorry. I did go to the Riverwalk. That's true.
Okay.
When you think about that, I did go to, it wasn't the first thing I did when I came out here, but yeah, I did go to the Riverwalk. So,
Everybody loves it for some reason. Being
yeah,
from here, I don't do it a whole lot, but when I do, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not too bad here.
yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's cool.
It's all right. There's not a
It's
whole
all
lot.
right.
Yeah, it's not like some of the other big cities with their downtowns are real
Yeah,
nice and whatnot, but
yeah. That's
it's not the
true.
worst. Yeah.
No, no, it's not. It's not. Now, are you? See, I'm starting to learn the areas a little bit better. So, are you originally from the east side, west side, south, or north?
I'm originally from the south side, southwest side, actually.
Southwest side. Okay.
Hmm.
See, I always hear a bad rep when it comes to the south side. I don't know how true that is, but I always hear a bad rep, or at least it used to be. I don't know anymore.
So where I grew up in the Indian Creek area. Everybody talks about how bad that is, and it was
Okay.
bad in probably like the '90s. But originally it was real military. There's a lot of military families down there, and then started getting pretty rough in the '90s when I was down there, and now it's probably worse now.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably worse now. A lot of younger kids kind of took over. So,
So
but
you had
that's
a
originally where I'm from.
okay. So you had to earn your stripes a little bit. It sounds like.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It's not somewhere where I wanted to raise my kids, so
Mm,
I moved up out of there.
you moved out. He said
Moved out.
I had to go. So what was that like for you, bro? Like growing up on the, you said southwest side, right?
Southwest side.
Southwest side.
Well,
So how
south
was that for
side,
you?
southwest side. Yeah.
Southwest side. Okay, we'll say southwest because I know some of you like no they.
Yeah.
I know I'm learning from y'all, man. Like y'all be very particular. Like no, I said southeast. Like okay, my fault. Like so.
And the only reason why I say southwest side is because I went to Southwest High School, so it only makes sense that
Oh,
I
okay,
say it's the southwest side. So,
okay,
because a lot of
okay.
people consider it like kind of east. I mean, kind of west side, but more kind of south. Is what
Got
it
you.
is.
Okay, okay. So then, what was that like for you growing up on the southwest side? with your mom and your dad. I'm assuming too, right?
Mom and dad, yeah, when I
So
grew up.
how was that for just growing up in that household in that environment, bro? Like how was that for y'all?
I liked it. I mean, I feel like it builds character for myself, growing up that way. Every summer I was never home. I was always out running the streets, playing sports, going to the rec center. So I had a lot of friends down there. So never home. Always, only time I came home, maybe to grab a quick snack or something if I wasn't eating at a friend's house. But I feel like it was bad, but at the same time, it wasn't too bad because as long as you're not out there causing problems or whatnot, you just you're a young kid. A lot of people don't really mess with you out there. They see you going to the parks and whatnot, hanging out at the recs, playing sports. So a lot of the older people, they kind of take you in, help you play and whatnot, show you a few things. So it was
That's
good. Like I said, definitely builds character.
that's
Definitely.
dope. So with that being said, then would you let your kids be out all night and or all day and come back just for snacks and leave it? Do you let them do that now?
So it's funny. So in the neighborhood we're in now, we've probably been here for about 10 years, and it's a gated neighborhood. There was never a whole lot of kids playing outside, so they were always inside. And then randomly, a couple new families started moving in with young kids, and hey, can Maya and Calvin come outside and play? And I was like, whoa, that's a little weird. They don't kids don't normally go outside, you know,
Mm,
like we used to when we were younger.
yeah.
So, oh yeah, man, y'all go outside and play. So I let them go outside and play. They definitely don't take advantage of it like I did and just be out there all day. They'll come inside and, you mind if I get a popsicle from so and so? I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you're asking.
Yeah.
Because that's not stuff I did when I was little. If you was
Yeah.
at somebody else's house, they offered, you ain't gonna run home and ask mom and dad, hey, you have a popsicle. You just gonna. So they're slowly. They started enjoying the outside, going out there playing sports with the neighborhood kids. We kind of made them stay in the area where we can see them,
Yeah.
even though it's a gated community. It's like, hey, stay where we can see you. But definitely not stuff I was doing when I was their age. So it's different. It's definitely different when
It
you have your
is.
own kids.
It is. That's what I look back sometimes to be thinking like I was well the ironic part because my mom basically raised me as a somewhat single mom at times, but she was very like she didn't let us do much. It wasn't until after high school. But I look or
Okay.
not after high school, I'm sorry, during middle school, high school, and I'll be looking back like, damn, I was everywhere on my bike.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
like I'm thinking like I was really far and I had no phone, like no one, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
No one knew where I was at. Like I remember
Yeah.
one time I think I got a cramp up a hill and my older brother he had to have me on his bike and we had to ride up. It was terrible the whole time, but
Yeah.
we had no phone to call someone to pick us up. We just had to deal with it.
That's funny. So I tell a story because, like I said, I grew up in the creek, and where we lived, my grandparents didn't live too far, or my grandma, I should say. So we would ride our bikes everywhere. Me and my older sister, like you said, no phones. And I remember one day we were riding our bike. She got attacked by a dog. So didn't know what to do. I'm yelling, trying to find somebody to help. I'm just pedaling, trying to help her get up on her bike. And like you said, I mean, you're on your bike, no cell phones back then, so it was. I was like, man, had to I think the ambulance came for her because she got her leg stuck in the in the in the spokes of the bike. Yeah, it was crazy. How we survived with no cell phones is,
Man,
I don't know. Yeah.
and your parents probably like why you didn't tell us? We like
Yeah.
how can we? Like
Yeah, had to pedal as fast as I can. I didn't want to leave her by herself.
yeah, that's crazy. That's
Yeah, but
funny
it's
though.
funny you say, being on your bikes everywhere, 'cause that's exactly how it was growing up,
Yeah, man.
either on the bike or walking from one place to another place.
That was a thing. And then I don't know if you guys had that out there, but we call them like candy houses. So you go to the house
Yeah,
and literally you buy, every little, gummy bears, sour
yeah,
worms, whatever, like, and all the Mexican candies, all this stuff. Like, we
yeah.
used to be, literally, it'd be like some random like family that just sells them, and we buy it for like 50 cents and $1.
That's funny because you saying that, and it's bringing me back to where I think we did have a couple candy houses down
Yeah,
here. Yeah, that's hilarious, man. I haven't thought about that. But yep,
yeah,
we
bro.
definitely had some candy houses growing up.
Yeah, I used
Yeah,
to save up. I used to save up for it. Like, man, okay. Like, yeah, I got enough to. How much is a bubble gum? Oh, and it
Yeah.
was like the one that loses flavor like
After 5 seconds.
after 5 seconds, right? It's like,
Yeah,
oh, it's twenty
you just
five
be.
cents. Like, okay, yeah, I got a quarter. Let me, you
Yeah.
know. So it's
Yeah.
funny, man. Now, with that being said, you have three kids, two kids, three kids,
3 kids. Yep. Three
three kids.
kids.
Okay, and
Three.
I met your two, your daughter and your son. Your daughter's fast as heck. I said, she,
She
she got
is.
she
Thank you.
got wheels. Now she get that from you or from mom?
Definitely for me. Definitely. Definitely. Back in my days, I definitely had some wheels.
Okay,
So,
okay.
oh yeah.
So did you do track or football?
And I did football from the time I was like 6 all the way until high school. I stopped in high
Really?
school. Oh yes. Something happened from 8th grade to my freshman year where everybody else shot up and I stayed small and puny. So I was like, yeah, I think it's time to switch to basketball. I made a life decision and started playing basketball after that. So
You could have been a running back, man. You know.
I look back at it and I wish I would have stayed with it.
Yeah.
But man, when I saw everybody my freshman year, I was like, oh no, I don't know what they did this summer, but I was not on that same plan. So
Now, but was they as fast as you though?
see, now if I would have stayed in it, I think, like I said, I think if working out because I didn't work out a lot in middle school,
Mm.
so and when I say I was tiny. So
Yeah.
I think if I would have stuck with it because I had some speed on me, I think I could have made a little,
Some noise, huh?
little. I think so. I think I would have at least been able to make the team
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
maybe play. It's something I look back at now, and that's why I tell my kids now, like, hey, if it's something you like, just stick with it. And that's that my son. So I never push sports on him. I
Mm.
let it come natural because I love sports. Like I said, I played from the time I was 6, so I kind of wanted it to come natural to him. I didn't want to, make him play sports and then him end up hating it or something. So I said, hey, whenever you're ready to start playing, then one day he's like, I want to play football. I was like, all right, let's go play football. So I'm out there playing catch with him, and the next thing I know, man, he's like you said, I played, he played on the same team as your son this season, and he's been in that league for probably 2 years now. And man, I watch him play, and I'm like, man, I don't know where he learned that from because I didn't teach him that. So
That's
it's
dope.
fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch. I enjoyed it. Definitely
That's
enjoyed
dope.
coaching your son. That boy's got some man. He could jump.
Yeah, he loves
So
jumping.
son, down, man. I'm like, man, you don't have to jump every time somebody throws it to you, but I like it, man. He's
Yeah, he
using
he
that
wanted.
that that gift.
Yeah, that's he. Yeah, I don't know. He loves jumping, but but and even with your daughter, man, I was like, I wish she could be on the team because she was ridiculous. But she now with soccer, did you did she just say she wants to play soccer? Did your wife play soccer? Like, because I know you said that's what she loves to do.
Yeah, that's her sport, soccer. She's been playing. She played at the Y from the time she was probably like 5 or 6, and then the last 3 years. She's 14 now, about to be 15, but I think around she was 10, maybe 10 or 11, 9 or 10. We put her in club because you don't get a whole lot out of the Y. So she
Yeah,
really liked it. I've never played soccer in my life before. Didn't know anything about the sport
really.
until oh no, until she started playing. I think my wife might have played a little bit, but she's she grew up being a dancer, cheerleader, stuff like that. She was in dance. That's what she went to school for. So
That's
I
dope.
have no idea how my daughter got into to soccer. I think we tried the t-ball thing once when she was little. She's out there playing in the sand.
And
So, yeah, that didn't work out. So she just took into soccer, and now she loves it.
that's dope. So you said she's about to be 14. Is that what you said?
About to be 15, about to be
15.
15 in
So
August.
she's gonna play for her high school.
Yeah, so she was a freshman this past school year.
Okay.
So she played her freshman year. So next year we're hoping she could take that step and make it to the varsity. That was her goal as a freshman, but it didn't work out. But she did pretty well for her first year in high school. So we're definitely hoping to get her that next step to where she can make varsity.
That's dope. I love it, man. I love it. Now, with that being said, now your third one, that's the one I didn't meet.
That's the one a whole lot of people don't know about. That's my oldest. She's 17, just turned 17.
She's 17.
She's 17 and she'll be a senior this upcoming school year. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I actually didn't find out about her until she was 13, maybe. I think when she was
Really?
13, so about 4 years ago. That was
Dang.
yeah, that was a surprise to all of us. So she's starting to come around a little more. Introduced her to the family, of course, slowly but surely she's starting to come around, hang out with the fam, stuff like that. So it's been these last 4 years been something else. So
No, I can only imagine. So I was gonna ask you, like, how did she take to, or how did you? No, matter of fact, how did you take to finding out? Hey, I have a daughter that I didn't know that I had a daughter. You know what I mean? Like, cause
yeah,
I'm like, cause I've joked before, like with my wife about it. Like just in like just mess around like scenarios. But
yeah,
yours was a real life situation.
real life
So
situation.
like
Yeah,
it's not a joke anymore. Like you're like even when you probably told
yeah,
your lady, she probably like, haha, that's funny. Like, no, I'm
yeah.
serious.
Yeah, so when I first found out about it, like I said, her mom hit me up saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you." I was hadn't talked to her in what was that, 4 years ago? So I hadn't talked to her in 13 years,
That's
13, 14
crazy.
years. Uh, she's like, "Yeah, I want to see if Allie's yours." I was like, "Whoa, what are we talking about?"
Yeah,
So we started talking, and then I said, "Well, I mean, I'm gonna have to talk to my wife." And of course, how do I just bring up to my wife, "Hey,
yeah, that's tough. Yeah,
yeah, she wants to see if I'm her dad." And if there's one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna disown something that's mine.
mm,
I love I love my kids, so I was like, well, I mean, got to find out if it's mine. So it took me, a few days, maybe a week before I brought it up to my wife. Trying to see, man, how can I do this? And then finally, it was eating me up inside. I was like, nah, I gotta tell her.
yeah,
Think we had a trip that weekend. We are gonna go see her family. So I said, well, I ain't gonna tell her before we go on a trip. That's gonna be awkward, you
yeah,
know. I'll wait till we get back. So, I
yeah.
waited till we got back. Hey, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. I said, well, before I met you, I might have had another kid. So,
Mm,
it was definitely rough.
yeah,
I'm glad I found out.
yeah.
Like I said, she's a great kid, real good kid, actually, well mannered, looks just like my other daughter. So once I saw the pictures, I was like, woo. Even my wife says, yeah, there ain't no denying that. Probably don't even need a paternity test for that one. As soon as I saw the pictures, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
knew.
yeah, oh yeah. Definitely got some strong genes on my side, I guess, for both of my daughters. 'Cause everybody says the one you met, everybody
Yeah,
says she's like my twin. So
yeah.
uh, this other one, she definitely looks like me as well. So it
So
was,
how did I guess then from because I asked from your point of view, but from your daughter's point of view, how was that? Because I can only imagine different emotions. Like she can't necessarily be mad at you because you didn't know, but then she's like, "Dang, I missed out on being able to grow up with you in a sense, right?" So like, how has she been able to take it in? And then I don't know if she has siblings from her mom or something like that, but then it's like, "Oh, dang, I have younger siblings. Like I'm a big sister."
yeah. So you're talking about the daughter that,
Your
uh,
oldest, yeah,
okay, yeah. So first, man, even now, we're still growing
yeah, of course,
So the first year, it was a lot of, texting back and forth, trying to, just know who she is as a person.
yeah,
Um, Met up a few times, she actually stayed over, to get to, meet her other siblings.
yeah.
Because now she's got two siblings over here and she's got her two siblings with her mom. So she's
Mm,
like, oh man, I got two more siblings. I got a sister because she's got
yeah.
two brothers. So now
Oh,
she's finally got a sister. So,
that's dope.
yes, I mean, it's a funny thing is Maya, the one you met, she's like, what? I have a big sister? Like, yeah, you got a sister. And then, of course, my son, well, I want a brother. I'm like, no, no more. But like I said, it was a lot of growing pains, with her, and it took her a while to kind of get comfortable. And even like I said, even today, she's,
Yeah,
we're still because we went from, talking a lot to there was a period where we didn't talk, because maybe things that I could have done better, or
yeah,
things that she was still trying to understand because she was still young. She was only 13, and
yeah,
finally meeting who she never knew me, Uh, so, getting to know me. And one thing about me is, if you're mine, well, I don't want to say mine, but, my kid, I love my kids. So,
yeah.
maybe she wasn't used to that. So I think it
Mm,
kind of scared her away a little bit. At least that's
yeah.
what I feel. We still
Yeah.
haven't had this talk. But I think I kind of scared her away a little bit because I was might have been coming on a little too strong, and then
Too strong.
I would get a little upset when I wasn't seeing her or talking to her. So I definitely said some things to her mom that I probably shouldn't have said at the time. But
Yeah.
I mean, trying to make up 13 years, you're not going to make that up in a day. So,
Yeah.
I was trying to catch up. Hey, I want to get to know her. I want to do this for her. I'm
Yeah.
trying to incorporate her into our family. Because we're a big loving family or a small loving family. But I was just trying to incorporate that into her. So I think it kind of pushed her away a little bit, and then slowly we started talking again, and matter of fact, she just told me like last week, hey, I'm glad, we're starting to talk. I can't remember what she said, but I think she texted me on Father's Day, Happy Father's Day,
That's
I said,
dope.
man, you don't know how great that made me feel. You telling me that. So I'm trying to think if she might have told me the last few years. She might have said it, but I don't know if she really meant it.
But it
But
hit
this
different
time,
this time.
oh yeah, for some reason it definitely hit this. I was like, you don't know how glad that made me feel, for you to just reach out and text me Happy Father's Day. So,
Yeah.
like I said, it's been a growing experience. It was the first couple months, here with my wife, was
Yeah.
definitely hard, and then to tell my young ones, my little ones, hey, y'all, I got a sister now. What do you mean
Yeah.
you have a sister? Well, back before mommy and daddy met, things happened,
Yeah.
I didn't know, she didn't know. So, you know, they really liked it. They took it to, they
Yeah.
welcomed her with opening arms. Oh, when are we gonna see Ali again? When are we gonna see Ali? Like, well, whenever she wants to come see us, we got to
Yeah.
take it day by day, little by little. We don't want to, scare her away, I guess you can say. But you know, it's been a learning experience. Like you said, you joke around about it, and some of my buddies, will start talking, and I'm like, hey, it's funny until it happens.
Yeah, for real. No,
It's
that's
funny. It's funny. It's funny until it happens. So
yeah. No, that's because I'm just thinking about like you said, like there's so many different angles, right? From how your wife could handle it, right? All the different emotions she probably dealt and things like that. Like she's trying to process it, right?
mhm.
Your oldest processing it, you processing it. The person the ones that process it probably the best was your youngest kids, like
Oh,
your two.
they did.
They're like, man,
Hmm.
okay, cool. We have another sibling to play with, or so
Yeah.
they cool with that. Where you're like, dang, and then I can understand from your perspective because like you said, like you might have came off a little strong, but you're also like, man, I want to be there. Like I'm
Hmm.
happy that you're here. Like I'm
Hmm.
not. If anything, I'm disappointed that I just found this out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to be involved. Like I'm so
Hmm.
happy to have you. And then for her, it's probably like, wait, hold on, like what's going on? And then you got to
Yeah.
deal with her being a teen. So so
Exactly.
it's not just that she's a teen. Like it's not like she found out at 8 years old or something. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? It's like, oh, okay, you're gonna play dolls with me. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? Like it wasn't that simple. Like
I was literally. She had just turned 13, like I said. So my oldest, or who I thought was my oldest, was maybe
yeah,
maybe turning 10. Uh, so I was like, man, I got a teenager.
yeah,
Like, man, you're about to start high school. Like, oh man, I don't know what this is like. So like I said, I tried to play catch up, and because
yeah,
well, heck, now I got a high schooler. Uh, Pretty soon you're gonna be out of high school. You ain't gonna want nothing to do with me. So,
yeah,
I'm trying to make up that time that we missed, and just be that father that she deserved.
yeah,
Growing up, that she didn't have. Now,
yeah,
like I said, I don't know who. Well, I don't know how her relationship with her person she thought was her dad. I don't know how that relationship was. So I was just, trying to be that dad she deserved.
yeah.
I guess you could say so.
No,
But
that's
like I
that's
said, we've grown a lot over the last 4 years, so I'm happy. Slowly but surely, it's getting there. So
no, that's at the end of the day, man. Like it's one of those things. Like it sounds like one of those movies or something like that. But
it's
um,
it's still it's still, sometimes my wife will be like, man, I still can't believe you have another kid. I'm like, sorry, like, yeah, me neither.
yeah.
Me neither.
Like me neither.
Can't
Yeah,
believe it either.
yeah. No,
She's a
that's
great kid though, real good
yeah,
kid, man.
yeah, yeah.
Couldn't be more
No,
proud of the young lady she's become. So
yeah, no, that's dope, man. That's definitely a blessing, though. It wasn't blessing how it came out, like how it came late, but
yeah,
she's a blessing, of course.
definitely.
So she graduates this year,
Yeah,
or
she'll be graduating this upcoming school year.
that's crazy. Okay, dang, then you have a college student.
Same. Yep. Actually, I think so. Last time I talked to her, she said she thinking about the military.
Oh
So we'll see
shoot.
how that goes. Yeah, we'll see how that
That's
goes.
what's up, man. That's dope, man.
Hmm.
So, now with that being said, what? Because I did mention earlier, guys, that you coach and stuff like that. So, what got you to coach? Is it just something you just happen to do it? Is it something you really loved? Is it something where your dad coached you when you was doing football? Like, what was it that got you to get in that?
So actually, so this past season when I had Lil Sean on my team, that was only my second time coaching.
Really?
So, yeah, so I've always loved sports,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty hard on my kids when it comes to certain things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, I can't be your coach because I can't put up with certain things y'all do. So I never wanted to coach him, right? I think I tried with Calvin when he was like 4 at the Y. They needed a coach for soccer. I said, sure, I don't know nothing about soccer. Just go out there and kick the ball. So I did that for for a year. Then the parents like, oh, you gonna do it again next year? I was like, oh, I don't know. So then I did it again, but then after that, he didn't want soccer no more. So then when he wanted to play football, I was like, oh man, I love football. So I go out there and play with them. Well, then the season before this past season, they were short on coaches, and the guy who runs the
Mm.
league, he's like, hey man, would you like to coach? And then it's funny, we're in the car coming home from probably from seeing the in-laws, and I had him on speaker. He's like, yeah, we're short on coaches. Would you want to coach? And Calvin's always saying, man, I want you to coach me. And I just never really had a whole lot of time, with my job and whatnot. So I said, well, I said, what days are the games on? He's, oh, y'all are in the Saturday league. I said, you know what? I'll do it. So I did it, and man, I loved it. I probably liked it more than the kids did, to be honest. It was fun. You know, I get into it. I'm
Yeah.
not hard on the kids,
Yeah.
because it's, at the end of the day, it should be fun for them,
Yeah.
So I was like, man, that's kind of fun. And then a lot of the parents were like, oh, we signed them up uh, again for the next season. We put you down as the coach. And I was like, well, I didn't know if I was going to coach again, but because I had a big test coming up
Man.
during the season and for work. And I said, man, I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time. I'm trying to study, this and that. Oh man, well, we wanted to keep the team together. I was like, you know what? I'll do it. Like it was fun. At the end of the day, I loved it. I tell Calvin, hey man, going forward, maybe I'll coach you again when you get back in football when football season starts up. So that was just something that kind of just happened, and I enjoyed it. Uh, all the kids are great. I was like, man, this is kind of fun. And like I said, I've always liked sports, so I was like, man, I wouldn't mind kind of doing this, after I retire from my job, and kind of just doing this on the side, just for
Yeah.
fun, because I like
Yeah.
sports, I like kids too, like I like teaching kids. It's a teachable moment, and this league was kind of just kind of thrown together, so I didn't really want to be hard on the kids. I kind of wanted them to just have fun, but deep down, I was like, man, I really want to touch these. That sounded kind of crazy. I really wanted to, help these kids,
Yeah. Make an impact.
make an impact on them.
Yeah.
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 So I was like, man, I kind of like this, man. I really, really enjoyed it. It was fun, seeing them play and going out there when they win, seeing them how upset some of them get when they lose. And I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, you lost, but it's okay. You had fun. That's all that matters. Now we know what we can work on. So it's something that I hope I can continue to do, especially with Calvin. He's still young, so I'm hoping I can coach him even more in football because he's always like, hey, can we go play catch? Can we go play catch? I'm like, man, I just got home from work. Let me
Yeah.
sit down for 5-10 minutes. But then at the same time, I didn't want him to get discouraged, so I was like, all right, let's go out there. We'll play catch. And man, next thing I know, he started catching real good. Started improving a whole lot. So I said, man, anytime you want to go, let me know. So it's just something like I said. It just happened. They needed a coach, and I saw. I kind of helped out on some of his other teams. Whenever the coaches needed help, I'd go help out a little bit, but I never was the coach by any means. And then finally being able to coach him, it was a fun experience.
That's dope,
Definitely a fun
man.
experience. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, what got you to, and I could be wrong, but like the demeanor that you have, like, what helped you to be so patient, which you need not only if you're coaching, but as you know with kids, right? So what is that? I guess something you just sometimes are like you're just because you come off where you are patient, but I don't know. It could be
Hmm.
like, nah, bro. When I'm at home. I have zero patience, right? But like,
No.
if you like, what helped you over the years? I guess be so patient. I mean, I think I am too for the most part, but some of us as dads we struggle with that because we have so much
Yeah.
going on and things like that. So
Mhm.
like, what kind of helped you to get so patient, or how or is it just something you always been that way as a kid? Like, what is that?
Hmm. Yeah, well, I've kind of, for the most part, man, ever since a lot, you probably don't know this about me, but I'm a I'm a police officer.
Mm.
So so in that field, you have to have a lot of patience.
Oh,
So that's kind of helped me a lot,
yeah,
being that, and then having kids now, I become real patient. Like, kind of I don't really let a lot of things bother me. Because at the end of the day, hey, somebody could just be having a bad day. They didn't
yeah,
really mean to call me this, that, or the other. So why am I going to take it personal? So
yeah.
I just always had, and I don't honestly don't know how I grew so patient. Maybe just doing what I've been doing for the last 17 years. That could be what it is. But yeah, I don't know as a kid if I was very patient or not. I might not have been very patient
Might
growing
not
up
be.
as a young kid. That's probably why I never joined the military. I look back at that and I'm like, man, I wish I would have joined the military. But, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, patience and discipline was not something I was, trying to
Yeah.
have. So,
Yeah, I know I
you know,
couldn't. I can't deal with them yelling and cussing at me. I've been looking at them like, this isn't gonna work.
yeah, so that's the attitude I had, and I was like, man, I can't do this. And then the next thing I know, I joined the police academy. They yelling at me. I'm like, man, what's wrong with y'all? Why y'all yelling for us? No reason to be yelling like this. And, after, a few weeks, I was like, oh man, this is all just a game. They're trying to break you down. So, it's gonna
Yeah,
take a lot more than that to just, break me down. So
yeah,
I was like, nah,
yeah,
I'll, roll with the punches. So, and
yeah,
after that, I just kind of just learned to, go on to different, dealing with different people's lives on a day-to-day basis and seeing what they're going through. And, like I said, it could be somebody having a real bad day. And at the end of the day, they could be yelling at me, ah, F you, guy, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let that bother me because you don't
yeah,
know me personally. So I
yeah,
know you're
yeah,
just having a bad day. So why am I gonna stoop down to that and, get on that level with you when I know at the end of the day you're just venting or, you're just having a bad day or whatnot. So, I don't let certain things bother me. With the kids on the other hand, sometimes, they could wear on my patience sometimes. And,
yeah.
I just let them, and then finally when dad's got to get up and just, you know, put the foot down, it's like, all right, he's not playing. Let me stop. So yeah, it's just, and that's another reason why, I enjoy, the coaching thing, because I was like, man, doing what I've been doing for the last 17 years, I've seen some kids who, you know, had it rough or whatnot, and, I've been able to talk to them and, kind of just, talk to them on a different level from what they're used to hearing every day. Because I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I grew up with mom and dad, but dad wasn't always there. They ended up getting a divorce when I was in high school, so I've seen a lot. So I just feel like I can talk to people, and you know, uh, it's crazy. It was man, I can't remember how long I had been on. Always going to this kid's house. He was always getting in trouble. I think mom was a single mom. She had boys, and they were always causing problems. She was always calling the police on them. And I just talked to him, let him know what's gonna happen, if he, stayed on that road he was on. And then, man, years later, I'm talking years later, I ran into him at a restaurant. The family was out. It might have been like somebody's birthday or something. So we are at a restaurant. I
Yeah.
see this kid, and I'm like, man, he looks familiar. So he asked me, he's like, hey, are you so and so? I said, yeah. And then, he told the story to my family. He caught me off guard. He's like, man, he really changed my life. He talked to me and this
Mm,
and that. I was going down a bad path. And I was like, man, you know, I'm glad, it just didn't go in one ear and out the other ear. So
yeah.
those are just things that I've always kind of liked doing for whatever reason. Every now and then, if I see a troubled kid, I'll get on my little Oprah soapbox and kind of just talk to him. Just been something that I've always
No, that's
cared to
dope,
do
man.
for whatever reason. So,
I love
yeah.
it, bro. Now as we get ready to close out too, you say you're a sports guy. So I guess who's your favorite football team since you're a football guy? Is it the Cowboys?
Man, this hurts me to say. I am. I grew up a Cowboys fan. My grandma, everything in the house was Cowboys. Cowboys everywhere. I'm talking Cowboys blanket, Cowboys TV stand, Cowboys everything in the house. So That's all I knew growing up,
You
and it's
poor
just been
man. You poor man. I'm
listen.
sorry.
But growing up in the '90s, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Troy Aikman, we had a real good team.
Yeah.
Haven't had one over the last 20 something years, but that's what I knew growing up in my football life. So yeah, I've always been a Cowboys fan.
Well, you know it's not turning around until Jerry leaves this earth, and even when he
Y-
leaves this earth, his son's taking over. So good luck.
Who's your football? Who's? I think were you Niners or who's your football
No, no,
team
I'm
again?
Vikings. Vikings.
Vikings. Okay,
Where I mean,
kind of like
look.
the
So
Vikings.
even though I'm talking mess, at least y'all won, right? My team, what we do, we like to be good, but not good enough.
Yeah,
Right?
that's kind of worse, right? It's kind of
That's
worse
kind
when
of worse,
you
you
get
know.
your expectations up, and
I mean, it's good and it's bad because football is the only sport where it feels like the regular season does still somewhat matter, right?
yes,
Because it's only so many games, only 17 games.
17 games now. Yeah,
So, if you just wait till the playoffs, it's over because
it's too
we
late.
won and
Yeah.
done. You know what I mean?
hmm
So, even though yes, it can be worse, but at least I could say I've enjoyed it. Like because to me, it's worse when you know your team's terrible, and you're like, what's the point? Like we're gonna win 3 games this year, 5 games.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's terrible. At
yeah.
least I'm like, all right, we win nine to
10,
ten
19
games. All
games.
right,
Yeah.
like it give me false hope. I'm okay with
Yeah.
that.
You're right. And I keep telling myself every year I'm gonna have a different team. Now that Calvin likes football, I'm like, hey, who's gonna be our team? I'm gonna stick with whoever you pick. And then one year he picked the Dolphins like 3 years ago. I was like, that's kind of random, but we'll be a Dolphins fan. And then he liked the Vikings, because Justin Jefferson. So
Yeah, just
he
Jefferson.
liked the Vikings. So I'm like, all right, whoever your team is gonna be, I think it's time for me to switch teams. I say that, but then it's hard for me to just give up on the Cowboys. I
Yeah,
can't just give up on them. It's all I've known for the last
yeah.
40 years. So
No, I
it's
understand because I just have this dilemma because I'm a people that know me I'm a Clippers fan. People are like, wait, why are you a Clippers fan? It's a whole another
that's
story.
right. Yeah.
I'm a Clippers fan, um, and they frustrate the mess out of me so much. Like when they
That's
traded for Paul George, I didn't want the trade, right? All
hmm
that stuff. So, anyways, point is like
hometown hero.
yeah, yeah, Kawhi, that's my guy, but still, like
Yeah.
I was just frustrated because I didn't want them to trade SGA. They traded him.
Oh,
Yeah, long story short, like
yeah.
this is before he became who he is now. Like
Yeah.
I said this
Yeah.
before because I love college hoops, so I watched him in
Okay.
college and all that stuff. Long story short, right? Like the Spurs just drafted another dude from the IE from where I'm from, and I'm like,
Okay.
what? I'm close to just being a like honorary Spurs fan because like the Clippers just like it's one thing to be terrible, but then it's terrible when you have no hope. And
Yeah.
so, but I say that, but knowing me, I'm still gonna root for them. I'm just gonna. It's
You
just
know,
I've been their fan too long.
I think the Cowboys will win a Super Bowl before the Clippers win the NBA championship.
The
That's
fact
that's
that
how
you
bad
say
it
that
is
and
for
I
the
can't and I
Clippers.
can't and I can't disagree makes me
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. Y'all. So I'm a Lakers fan. So y'all are like the little brothers
Yes,
to us
yes, we're the little
Lakers.
brothers for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how I became a Lakers fan, I don't know. People ask me all the time, why are you a Lakers fan? But I've been a Lakers fan since Kobe got in the league, and I just stuck with them since then.
Yeah.
So
No,
I
smart
always
man.
look at the Clippers as the little brothers.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
crazy you're a Clippers fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why. Every day I ask myself.
That has to hurt seeing SGA win this
Yeah,
championship
it
too.
it did, it did hurt because
Because
but
what y'all gave up for him.
well, yeah,
I mean,
but
what y'all? Yeah.
every move, well, they did a lot of wrong moves, but the stuff that's happened beforehand, I've called it. So that's what
Yeah.
makes it worse. It's not like it's a
hmm
surprise. Like it'd be different if it's like for you, for your Cowboys, you might be like, oh man, okay, we paid a Zeke. All right,
hmm
cool. Yeah, Zeke's gonna do his thing, then he falls
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah.
But I was the person like, don't pay Zeke. Like he's
Yeah.
gonna fall off, and then it happens. So that's why for me, like that's why I be hurting because
hmm
everything that goes bad, like I've called it beforehand, and everyone's like, "You're
Yeah.
crazy." No,
Yeah.
Doc Rivers is a great coach. I'm like, please get this man off my team, right?
Then he fooled everybody. He's still
Yeah, like
fooling people.
Phil Jackson said that he was like, he'll what he say when he played your Lakers, he told them when Kobe beat him, he said,
Hmm.
just keep playing. Doc Rivers will give it up. So,
Yeah, back
but
when he was with the Celtics. Yeah.
yeah, when he was with the Celtics. So,
Hmm.
but nah, man. But with that being said, man, I want to always try to make sure I give my guests their flowers, man. And so, one, I just want to thank you for your time, and then also,
Definitely.
man, it's amazing to me just the type of human you are, the type of person you are, and to your family as well, just for being so loving and caring. Because, obviously, 4 years ago, y'all, everyone's world, not just yours, everyone's world was kind of turned upside down,
Hmm.
and you guys have honestly just embraced one another, and I think that's awesome, bro. Like I think that's really dope
Appreciate it.
that you could have took it a certain way. Like, I know many guys that would have went the other
Oh yeah.
direction with it, right?
Hmm.
Like, man, I don't want nothing. I don't want to be bothered with it. Why you trying to mess up my life? Like,
Hmm.
whatever, right? And you took it as,
Definitely.
man, okay, you know what? I'm more disappointed that I missed all those years, right? And we're a family. Like, I'm not gonna
Hmm.
treat you different. I ain't gonna look at you different. I'm still gonna love you. And so I just think that takes a special type of person, man. So I just wanted to give you your flowers with that, man. And
Definitely
just keep
appreciate it.
leading your family, bro, like you've been doing. And shout out to your kids and your lovely wife, of course, as well, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. I hope you and Shondell are having a good summer, man. I hope he's out there on that basketball court.
Yeah, man. He's been working, man, and getting his stuff together. He's also talked about football again too. So,
Oh, really? You
yeah,
know,
he's been talking about it a little bit with that. So I'm like, okay, I gotta figure something out with that for him, for
yeah.
sure. But no, man,
I
it,
can't
it
wait to see him in high school playing because when I saw him playing football, I'm like, oh man. And then when y'all said he does basketball, I was like, man, that kid's gonna be good at basketball. I could already tell, man. He's
yeah,
definitely
Lord
got it.
willing,
So
man, Lord willing, he just
yeah,
gotta keep working, and we'll see what happens,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Nah, man, but no, bro, I appreciate you again, man, and yeah, thank you for your time. And remember, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, and like always, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you guys on the next one.
That's right.